Welcome, history viewers drawn to the hidden machinery behind revolutions. Germany did not only fight Russia in World War I, it helped Lenin return home while Russia was breaking apart. Could a sealed train become a weapon? Could hidden money reshape a war? And could one tactical gamble outlive the men who approved it? In April 1917, Lenin and 31 fellow revolutionaries crossed Germany under strict conditions. German officials later described the move as a military necessity, while one general compared propaganda to shells and poison gas. This video follows the route from Zurich to Petrograd, the money behind it, and the payoff Germany believed it had secured. Germany did not just fight Russia during World War I. It also helped finance the revolution that would remove Russia from the war. In April 1917, German leaders allowed Vladimir Lenin to cross their territory inside a sealed train. 32 passengers made the journey. 7 months later, the largest empire on Earth had collapsed. At the beginning of 1917, Lenin lived in a small apartment in Zurich. He spent his days working at the public library. Every day, he returned home for lunch at exactly 12:10. He had been exiled from Russia for years. His articles were read by only a few hundred committed radicals. He had almost accepted that he might never witness the revolution he had spent his life predicting. In January, he told a friend that the older generation might not live to see the decisive battles. Then the Tsar abdicated on March 15, 1917. Lenin discovered the news at a public newspaper display beside the lake in Zurich. He stood there reading that the Russian Empire had suddenly imploded. For the next several days, he kept returning as the report became more dramatic. The Duma had fallen, and a provisional government was trying to hold the country together. Russia had become a democracy in the middle of the bloodiest war in human history. Lenin was desperate to return. But Britain and France would probably arrest him if he crossed Allied territory. He could not fly, and the route through Scandinavia was also blocked. Trapped in neutral Switzerland, he said they had to return by some means, even if it was through hell. Every Allied route back to Russia appeared closed. Only Russia's greatest enemy had the power to open a path. Berlin began to see the stranded exile as a military opportunity. Germany had been fighting Russia on the Eastern Front for 3 years. The campaign was consuming men, money, and time. Since 1915, the German Foreign Office had supported anti-war propaganda inside Russia. The purpose was to encourage desertions and mutinies. Berlin wanted to force Russia out of the conflict. That would allow German troops in the east to move west. They could then face Britain and France before large American reinforcements arrived. The United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917. A German diplomat in Sweden later said this decision made Lenin's passage urgent. Foreign Minister Richard von Kuhlmann sent a cable to German army headquarters. He described Russia as the weakest link in the enemy chain. Breaking the Entente had become one of Germany's most important war aims. The cable said the Bolsheviks were already receiving a steady flow of funds. The money moved through different channels and under different labels. It helped them expand Pravda and distribute propaganda. The admission appeared in an official German government cable from 1917. Alexander Parvus was the intermediary connecting Berlin with the revolutionaries. He was a former socialist who had become an arms contractor for the German war effort. Parvus had helped finance Lenin's newspaper years earlier. Now he became a pipeline for German money moving toward Bolshevik networks. He contacted von Kuhlmann and helped arrange the deal. General Erich Ludendorff later admitted that sending Lenin was a tremendous responsibility, but argued that Russia had to fall. Berlin now had the motive, the money, and the intermediary. Its military leaders understood the risk and accepted it. The remaining problem was how to move Lenin across enemy territory. General Max Hoffmann was even more direct than Ludendorff. He compared sending Lenin into Russia with using poison gas against enemy trenches. Hoffmann argued that propaganda was a weapon, just like shells and gas. Lenin was not being treated as an ordinary passenger. He was being aimed at the political heart of Russia. The plan began on April 9, 1917, at 3:10 in the afternoon. Lenin and 31 other revolutionaries boarded a train in Zurich. The group included Nadezhda Krupskaya, Gregory Zinoviev, and Karl Radek. They traveled inside a green-painted railway carriage. 3 second-class compartments were reserved for couples and families. 5 third-class compartments held the remaining passengers on wooden seats. German officers occupied a compartment at the rear. Lenin demanded that a chalk line be drawn across the floor. The line created an imaginary border between Russia and Germany. It allowed him to claim that he had never technically stepped onto German soil. The gesture resembled a child's game, but the stakes involved the future of the world's largest country. German authorities treated the train as a state priority. Crown Prince Wilhelm was delayed for 2 hours so Lenin's train could pass. The passengers were isolated as though they carried a dangerous disease. The writer Stefan Zweig described the sealed train as a projectile fired across Europe. The travelers could not speak to Germans or leave the carriage at most stops. Even the single toilet operated through first-class and second-class tickets, separating ordinary use from smoking. The sealed carriage crossed Germany under strict controls, but the journey still had to pass through Sweden and Finland. With every mile, Lenin moved closer to the revolution waiting for him. The train continued north through Germany, and some passengers secretly spent a night in Frankfurt. From Germany, the group crossed to Sweden by ferry. German officials helped overcome the fact that many passengers lacked proper paper. In Stockholm, a photographer captured Lenin walking quickly with an umbrella and a hat. He looked more like a Swiss businessman than a man preparing to overturn an empire. The journey continued through Finland and then south toward Petrograd. At 11 at night on April 16th, the train entered Finland station. A marching band played revolutionary songs as an excited crowd waited on the platform. A German diplomat in Sweden soon reported that Lenin's entry into Russia had succeeded. The cable added that Lenin was working exactly as Germany wished. German officials were effectively receiving progress reports on the Russian Revolution. Lenin immediately climbed onto an armored car outside the station. He delivered a speech demanding peace, land, and bread. Within days, he issued the April Theses. He argued that the provisional government had no real authority and that the Bolsheviks should seize power. Lenin wanted Russia out of the war immediately, and Berlin wanted the same result. On July 4th, the provisional government released accusations that the Bolsheviks were receiving German money. It claimed that funds traveled from Berlin through Stockholm using intermediaries including Jakob Furstenberg and Alexander Parvus. A satirical cartoon claimed Lenin had received 2 million from Wilhelm. The figure may have been exaggerated, but the direction of the funding was not disputed in the account. In 1917, the Bolsheviks seized power, and the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk later removed Russia from the war while transferring vast territories to Germany. The regime Germany helped empower became a totalitarian superpower, dominated Eastern Europe for 70 years, and eventually fought Germany in the next World War. That is the betrayal behind this revolution. For more forgotten stories like it, follow along. History is one long unsolved group chat, and we are still catching up.